If we don't change, we will fall. Our time is now to overtake this power that has been abused. All we have is our names to keep. Don't let them take that from you.
Laughter is a deterrent to pain. Now he said at Johns Hopkins, you know what I'm saying, Hopkins University. They have proven it. And they have people that lead in laughter. They lead in laughter. And they'll say, I don't have anything to laugh about. And they'll say, that's all right. You just go ahead. That your physical brain and body cannot tell the difference between a put-on laugh and a real belly laugh. It works. And like I said, a merry heart does good like a medicine. So, the joy of the Lord is our strength. So how do we count it all joy? Well, ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha. Ha, 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 ha. The Associated Press said that Joe Biden is president. Ha! Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to be president. Mickey Mouse is going to be king. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. The media said what? The media said Joe Biden's president. Ha 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 For those that might have the idea that I hate Joe Biden, I do not. No, I don't. I love him. The media said what? The media said Joe Biden's president. I prayed that on her this morning. For Joe Biden, for Kamala Harris. I don't agree with their politics, but I love them. And I want you to know that should it be necessary, I apologize if that came across that way.
I love you. I don't even know you, but I love you. Because Jesus is my Lord.
And I say amen. Maximum fucking off the cope.
Oh boy.
More copium in my veins.
Cope. No,
What's
I
up?
love to cope.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. We're back.
What's good, y'all?
We are back. First
Happy
Sunday.
Sunday.
What's good, y'all?
We are
Happy
here.
Saturday.
It is our first Sunday show. Due
Yes,
to popular demand.
So it is the Lord's Day.
I'm no longer a stagnant photo either.
Yep.
No.
And don't forget, we love you. We don't even
We
know
love
you.
We feed them.
We feed them.
That's one of the creepiest smiles I've probably ever seen.
Oh yeah, and he's had that.
Oh,
He's had that smile for a while, but
He looks like the fucking Joker. Well, the old one, like the old fucking
the Jack Nicholson one.
Yeah, the Jack Nicholson
Yes.
Joker.
Yeah.
Just the whole fucking.
His
Now-
cheeser is like up to his fucking like eyes.
You guys might not have been able to hear it in the stream, but like the fucking derangement of the people there too. You hear them going like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I agree with this.
I agree. Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. By golly.
Jesse
Lord
Lee
save us.
Peterson.
Yeah, I thought we'd open with that because,
We need a laugh.
yeah, I think in a way we have the same reaction internally, but clearly for different reasons.
He's a
we're also
deranged
laughing.
evangelical, and then we're just
Right.
lefties.
We're just healthcare, please.
Yeah.
Please, healthcare, please. I guess with that in mind, though, that and kind of opening with that, maybe we should properly take down Joe Biden, properly laugh at Joe Biden and the mockery that is going to be his administration, most likely.
Lettuce.
So, Carlos, do you want
we
to
were-
take it?
We were teasing it a little bit last show. We didn't really get to it. We kind of ran out of time. We had a lot of stuff to go over. But I finally found that article I was talking about. There's a few little details I got wrong. It's been a long time. My memory must be failing me because apparently this only came out last year. But definitely before he got the nomination. So
Yeah.
and here I'll just bring it up so we can start looking at it. This is a Politico article titled "Biden Inc." Over his decades in office, middle-class Joe's family fortunes have closely tracked his political career. The day the Bidens took over Paradigm Global Advisors was a memorable one. In the late summer of 2006, Joe Biden's son, Hunter, and Joe's younger brother, James, purchased the firm. On their first day on the job, they showed up with Joe's other son, Beau, and two large men, ordered the hedge fund's chief of compliance to fire its president, according to a Paradigm executive who was present. Yeah, I'm really screwing my words up. Sunday night, we big chilling out here.
Yup.
After the firing, the two large men escorted the fund's president and out of the firm's Midtown Manhattan office, and James Biden laid out his vision for the fund's future. Quote, "Don't worry about investors," he said, according to the executive, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, citing fear of retaliation. Quote, "We've got people all around the world who want to invest in Joe Biden." So
Wow.
this whole article goes on quite a bit. I'll kind of go over a little bit some of the points. I'll say mostly this whole article is kind of about James Biden for the most part.
Right.
They kind of leave Joe out of it, except for the the few times where he was slightly involved, but mostly I'd say this article is kind of about the whole history of Joe Biden and how his brother James has managed to get himself into all kind of sticky situations along his brother's political career.
Well, even from that last quote you read, it's them, capitalizing off of Joe Biden's name, essentially, because even they're saying, don't worry about investors. We've got people all around the world who want to invest in Joe Biden. So it's all, capitalizing on his name.
So you can kind of follow it here. Joe enters the Senate in 1973, takes a seat on the banking committee, and that same time period, James Biden purchases a nightclub, and he has a wealthy trove of large donors from some from some very nice and very generous banks who just wanted to help out a good old Biden.
They'll never ask favors later on, of course.
No, of course not. This is just helping somebody out.
Yeah, it's handing out free corporate money,
No, I don't want anything. And
Pat on the back.
Pat on the back, yeah. A little rub and tug.
But if I hand you this piece of legislation, I wouldn't mind if you passed it for me.
Behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So here gets into a little bit about what the article started out talking about, paradigm, which is quite special, as we can see here. Paradigm was the brainchild of James Park, a son-in-law of the billionaire Sung Myung Yoon, who claimed to be the Messiah and founded the Unification Movement, a religious group often accused of being a cult and whose members are known as Moonies.
Yes!
Started by Park in 1989, Paradigm was an early entrant into the hedge fund industry and was among the first funds of funds. That is, a hedge fund that invested in other hedge funds.
That's like the scene in The Big Short when he describes the synthetic CDOs. That's where we put a fake bond in another fake bond.
We have the speculation on the speculation.
Exactly. Betting on the bet.
Just because there's so much money and no one knows what to do with it.
Yeah.
So, getting in. And so this is the hedge fund they purchased, getting some, once again, very generous loans.
Right.
Quite a bit more money than what James Biden himself had gotten with his partners for the nightclub. Which, ironically, throughout this whole story as I read it, I'd like to read the whole thing, but we just simply don't have enough time.
Yeah.
A common theme is James Biden's inability to repay these generous loans that he seems to keep mysteriously getting. And no one seems to know why. Let's see, so I'm gonna skip around here a little bit. I want to go a little bit back in time to the first instance here. Let's see. The club, Seasons Change, was located in a shopping plaza near Pennsylvania state line, would eventually fail, leaving behind it a trail of debt and a trickle of embarrassing revelations about its financing. The pair had obtained a series of loans for $80,000, $60,000, and $25,000 from Wilmington's Farmers Bank. At least one of those loans was unsecured, meaning that it was not backed by collateral that could be seized if the borrower stopped paying. When James began missing his payments and risking default, his brother Joe became angry at the bank. What I'd like to know, the junior senator told his hometown paper in 1977, quote, is how a guy in charge of loans let it get this far. The paper looked into it. Quote, the answer, according to 3 former officers of the troubled Farmers Bank, is the Biden name. So, straight out of their mouths.
The one and only time Joe Biden goes after a bank it will be when his family's just balls deep in corruption.
And keep in mind, this was when Joe was just a youngster in
right. This is the early to mid
politics.
And this is course for the par in fucking Delaware, their home state too, credit card city.
So I'll definitely say this: a lot of the stuff in this article, it's nothing that you could really. I think they concluded at the end. It's nothing that you can definitively prove that Joe Biden like helped his brother out. But
right.
But what it does demonstrate is a series of corruption that stems much deeper than just quid pro quo politics.
Right.
It's just a whole system of favors that goes beyond words, because they all know that's all that they really need to get caught is just say the wrong thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because most of the stuff they can cover up anyway.
Too.
A lot of all this is just built on private confidentiality, and because all these firms that they keep buying and selling, they keep getting sold and liquidated, that we'll never know a lot of the stuff about the real inner workings of them, because they're just long and gone. Which that's another real shocking thing. It's like they keep getting into all this shit over and over again. It's like obviously we all know about like Hunter Biden's drug problems, which we all know people with drug problems, and it's a vicious cycle. What this sounds like is a drug problem.
This just makes
and the drug is money.
Seem more like a fucking just normal dude. You just smoked a little bit of crack, the working man's drug, and had a big.
Well, it's funny. That's what people have gone after, but yeah, to your point, like they completely mirror the Trump family in this way. And
the reason I wanted to kind of highlight this older story is just to show that like if it can happen to like a junior senator, I mean. Think about how much of this is just going on casually that no one knows about.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, even the stuff that's in our face, and that's like I think the dumbest part about like the whole like during the debates when Trump and Biden was like, "You're corrupt." No, you're corrupt. It's like it's some crazy number. Like the Trump children made like hundreds of millions within the Trump presidency. And it's like, where did they get that money from?
Well, and clearly, as we see from this, we shouldn't expect Biden's family to have any different behavior.
No, exactly. Instead of getting Trump, we're getting like just call Biden what he is, man.
We're swapping him out.
Yeah, we were just
maybe Ivanka's maybe not like some pivotal role in the White House or something, but now you got fucking like Hunter or some other family member of Joe doing something sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get into more of that stuff too, but yeah, clearly it's gonna be the same old same, capitalizing off of their name and their position.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just...
whatever's in their best interest,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Well, fuck, in this individualist society, they're playing the game. They got it.
Yeah. Yep.
A game of families.
Here, I'm just gonna.
My family knows your family. Let's work together to make.
Kind of get to the point of all this, and sadly the point is there is no real point because it all failed. None of them are. I'll read here. In 2017, Joe Biden told a Vanity Fair writer that he sometimes wished that one of his children had gotten rich in order to provide for him in his old age. Biden and his wife Jill have set about providing for themselves, earning more than $15 million in the 2 years following the end of his vice presidency in early 2017.
So they're doing a good job.
Yeah, him and Obama.
They did a good job.
Yeah, they're
well compensated.
They're just getting what they're owed for a job well done. Hunter recently told The New Yorker that he lives on $4,000 a month and that he offered to pay his ex-wife $37,000 a month in alimony and child support for 10 years.
God damn.
Okay, I haven't even
Yeah,
really looked
I know.
into this, so like I have no idea what the hell this is about.
Hunter could knock me up. 37,000 a month.
I'm curious
Holy
where all this
shit.
money's coming from.
I don't give
Well,
a
assumably the fucking you haven't covered it, but assume like all the Burisma shit that they've done in Ukraine. But
Yeah, that's the.
we'll have to.
I think there's a lot more
one.
information on that out there, which is kind of why I wanted
yeah.
to touch on a few of the kind of other ones.
Yes. Yeah, I think. Well,
And
you
with,
covered,
obviously
like,
the article will be linked below, and I hope everyone checks it all out. It's a lot of interesting stuff in here that was probably never be talked about ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be swept under the rug after fucking Biden takes office. And of course, all of the libs are just gonna go back to sleep and not care about what's going on anymore because they just assume everything's okay as long as Democrat is in office.
So more or less, kind of my conclusion that I've come to after reading all this is that they didn't really get too far with it, other than just like trying to be complete sellouts. And well, Joe, if you look into his just his straight campaign finances, he's got more just straight up legal corruption going on with just corrupt campaign financing, which is legal.
Yeah. Well, I think in our little pre-show, you made a good comment too. Anything that one of these politicians, anything that's one of their names / foundation, yeah, not a good sign.
You want to be the most suspicious of.
Yeah, exactly. Whether
Clinton
it's the Clinton Foundation, the Trump Foundation,
the Obama Foundation,
the Reagan Foundation, any of them. So
the Bush Foundation, yeah.
Yeah, well,
it's in the name.
War Crimes Inc. Do we have everything we want on this one?
I think so.
Okay, well,
obviously, like I said,
we'll have it linked up.
Yeah, there's more to it, but yeah, we definitely got some other stuff here to go over, and I don't want to hog up all the time.
So, keeping with this theme, and this isn't just to maybe people listening. This isn't us just like going after Biden or something. Like, this man just won the presidency, presumably. And now, and as I'm going to make the argument, now, rather than later, even if it's 2 months from now, is not the time to try to get concessions out of fucking Biden. Like, now is the time. Because if we miss this moment right now, and I'm going to get into why, and what's kind of happening already, that, come 2 months when Biden's already in, it doesn't matter what kind of pressure we put or who we have in these different positions. The next 4 years are going to be predetermined.
Yep.
Yeah.
And part of this, and here you can see from Democracy Now!, we're just going to read the headline here. Cecilia Muñoz, who defended family separations under Obama, joins Joe Biden's transition team. She is a former policy writer under Obama's administration, famously one of the ones that conglomerated to build these fucking cages that Trump has now used to, and Obama did too, as Obama is known as the deporter in chief, but Trump's upped the game too. So, and Joe has shown he's not going to do anything different. He's already chosen someone that has done that. And the key here is, notice she's not like really like an official or like a head of, he didn't choose her as like a chief of staff or anything like that. We're going to talk about those people too. But these transition team people are really important because I can't remember the book, but there was a book my dad got me like a couple Christmases ago. And the case in that one basically was, and he analyzed it through the Trump administration taking power, is that these transition teams are, if anything, more important than who heads, the different departments and administrations, because these transition people write all the policy that's going to determine what happens for the next 4 years.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's kind of a set in stone thing too. Like once these people get in, and it's not really a once they get in, the real effect is like obviously it's just a swamp of people that are in and out. These policymakers and these corporate, lobbies are constantly, as soon as Joe, they thought Joe was going to be president, these people start popping up and they're already writing policy for what the next 4 years are going to look like. So yeah, it's a bad sign because if we don't fight tooth and nail, and obviously, my analysis is it's too late seeing that people like this are already in his transition team. We're just going to see more of the same. And and you guys can kind of comment on this part too, but like one of the big fumbles of Bernie, and we love Bernie and we talk about Bernie all the time, but not fucking getting the concession of Medicare for all at a bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because now it's too late. It's not going to happen in the next 4 years.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Bernie's entire decision when he dropped out and not immediately like giving Biden a list of things like
or at least one.
or at least just you give me at least this, but you give me this, this, and this, and you have me and my base of support.
Be honest, like Medicare for all alone is like kind of the one thing we needed.
Yeah, especially
to be honest, everything
pandemic.
else
exactly, especially
it's like that or in abolishing like student loan debt were probably like the biggest things. But like healthcare mostly because just the debt that people suffer from that as well.
Yeah.
I heard that him and Biden had talks, but it just never like worked out. And then I think as of recently, Bernie went to go talk with Biden, like within like these 2 weeks, I think.
Right, and now
I don't know what Bernie's new proposition was to at least persuade Biden into Bernie's ideals.
The Biden campaign's play on that has been, okay, we'll give you a concession. We're not going to give you Medicare for all, but we'll give you maybe Bernie as the labor secretary.
Yeah, we'll make you labor secretary.
Which has powers, but the problem is, kind of to this whole transition thing, if they're giving Bernie that, they know they can corner him and make him useless.
Yeah.
And they're just going to power through. Yeah, Medicare for all is not going to happen now. We've lost all of our leverage. So big bummer to see. And you should call Cecilia Muñoz what she is, a war criminal and honestly a fascist too, because they're the people that enabled, Trump's immigration guy, Stephen Miller, who's just a straight up fucking Nazi.
Exactly.
Can we move to the next one, Carlos? So in case the transition people weren't fucking enough, let's go ahead and we'll just go brief on this one because we have a lot. Just in general, like other articles and stuff. But this is Tony Blinken, who Biden has chosen as part of his foreign policy team. So background here. Blinken is a liberal interventionist with an emphatic idealism about the virtues of, quote, American leadership.
Liberally.
Yeah. Otherwise, piece of shit. His relationship to Biden goes back decades, and he is considered a favorite for National Security Advisor or possibly Secretary of State, which, as we both know, have huge fucking military powers. This article gives, this is by Non-Zero. I haven't actually gotten anything from here before. This isn't bad, though. Military restraint, they gave him a D-. Blinken, well, I would argue an F just based on this first sentence. Blinken was a key advisor to Biden when the senator voted to authorize the use of force against Iraq. Done. Just that already worst.
Yeah, just.
Blinken has tried to recast the vote as merely, quote, a vote for tough diplomacy. But
what?
But post-invasion remarks by Biden make that claim implausible. In a recent Washington Post op-ed that Blinken co-authored with Robert Kagan, one of the chief architects of neoconservative foreign policy doctrine, he implied that the problem with the Iraq War was poor execution, bad intelligence, misguided strategy, and inadequate planning, which, as we know, is all fucking bullshit. Rather than the very idea of invading a country in violation of international law, even after it admitted weapons inspectors to assess the claims motivating the invasion. And as a side note, as we knew, because we had the fucking receipts, because Saddam used to be our boy. Still reading here. Nor does Blinken have second thoughts about the U.S. and its allies having flooded Syria with weapons that turned a doomed insurrection to a raging but futile civil war, leading to countless deaths and creating countless refugees. A policy that, as an Obama administration staffer, he played an important role in shaping. There is, worse stuff he goes on here, like he fucking, like, is super hawkish on, like, North Korea, Russia. He calls for buildup on Russia, like, NATO on Russia's borders.
Which is so insane. I think that...
All that's insane, yeah.
The whole Russia situation, I think, is so crazy. Like, you have all these countries that are just, like, beefed up on Russia's borders, and they just have to, like, sit there.
Yes. But just his known stuff, stuff he's done, Iraq War and, Syria, the whole Syria, debacle that's, ruined that country.
Yeah.
Just because we wanted gas, cheap gas. But,
just that alone.
As the guy that should fucking have, a shit ton of military power is going to be the guy that, illegally got us into the Iraq, not mistakenly got us into the Iraq War, purposely got us into the Iraq War.
That's why when the Vanguard Party takes power, straight to the fucking guillotine.
Can we actually go to the video first before the next article we have, Carlos? I actually think the Jimmy Dore video we have. This video keeps with this theme. This is about Biden's his chief of staff, another administrative role.
Was his name Daniel Klein or something?
Something
Klein.
Yeah. Roger Klein or something like that.
Joe Biden's announced Ronald Klain will serve President-elect Biden as White House Chief of Staff.
Ronald, even worse.
Who is that guy? I bet he's a big progressive. I bet he's the opposite of a Republican corporatist, right? He's a guy who's going to fight for workers and lefties. Well, he comes right from K Street. You know what K Street is? That's where all the lobbyists are. Well, here, you want to know who he is? Here's who he is. Ron Klain was a paid lobbyist for an asbestos industry bailout package, an airline merger, mortgage regulations to help Fannie Mae and drug maker under a congressional scrutiny for withholding a life-saving drugs from dying patients, among other clients. So that's kind of what he does as a lobbyist. He does all this horrible, bad stuff. He's a lobbyist. He's going to be his chief of staff. Klain's career as a lobbyist, during which clients paid nearly $700,000 for lobbying in which he participated, ended when he left his partnership at the law firm McElveny and Myers in 2005. So Biden is extending an olive branch to progressives. It's just covered in asbestos and fracking fluid. Guy got $700,000 for lobbying, so he's a true servant of the working people. I'm surprised he didn't do PR for Halliburton while he was at it. U.S. Airways in 2000 and 2001 paid as much as $140,000 to have Klain lobby Congress and the Justice and Transportation Departments on the air carrier's proposed merger with United Airlines. Again, clearly a grassroots kind of guy. Going back 20 years, grassroots. He's been doing this for his whole life, this guy. Airborne Express in 2003 paid O'Melveny $120,000 to have Klain lobby Congress and the Transportation Department in support of a sale of its ground assets to DHL Worldwide Express. A $1 billion transaction finalized 1 month after Klain's firm was retained. So Klain's team brought in even quicker cash representing the drug maker Imclone. His team lobbied 4 powerful members of the House Committee on Government Reform about compassionate use investigational new drug applications during FDA clinical testing process. Okay. The committee held hearings at which ImClone President Sam Waxel was confronted by survivors of
crazy.
cancer victims who died after trying unsuccessfully to get ImClone to grant them compassionate use supplies of its much ballyhooed experimental cancer drug C225. Waxel acknowledged that his company granted only 30 compassionate use supplies out of more than 10,000 requests and said his company should have communicated better with terminally ill
Pause it
patients.
there, Carlos.
What?
So yeah, this guy, not only is he a huge fucking lobbyist for a bunch of different lobbies, air and transport, pharmaceutical, but look here, he literally, like, this experimental drug that could have helped cancer patients, you know, they got 10,000 requests and they only granted 30 compassionate use, which means they made the other fucking, you know, all the other people fucking pay some god obscene amount or die.
Yeah.
So not only a piece of shit, but yeah, my point with all this collection of things is it's too late. This guy's already in, or is gonna be in, and even if we fight and get this guy out, all these transition members, etc., that have set up all the policy, it's all predetermined already.
So whoever we
guess
put
it's
in
become
instead is
scum
just going
in,
to do the
scum
same
out.
shit he was already going to do.
Yeah, scum in, scum out. Yeah, we lost all of our leverage back, you know, way back when Bernie was assassinated, and we've been deluding ourselves thinking, you know, we're going to have some here on out, but it's like, it's too late.
Yeah.
One more to add on to this, just
Beautiful compilation.
Biden. Yeah, this is more to Biden's corruption, as Carlos brought up early, and it's also ironic. Is almost too good. Like it goes beyond irony that, you know, his son, who Beau, that died, that he fucking uses his name to just, you know, he has a foundation after him now and all kinds of shit.
He has merch.
Every time he's out on the field, he has a story to, you know, tell about his son.
I think that's one of the most fucked up parts about
That's why it's fucked.
yeah, he uses his son's dying of fucking brain cancer as like a reason to fucking be against Medicare for all, which would nets probably save or not net, like not probably, but it would like net save more people's lives that were in a similar situation to his.
Yeah, so he's lying on the grave of his son.
Yeah, which is just
Let's not get it wrong. Beau was probably a piece of shit too.
But
just
still,
by how it was
regardless,
proven.
but using a dead person as a leverage for your shitty position
Your son.
your son on an overwhelmingly positive policy. Like you're batshit crazy and you're a terrible person, regardless of how much of a piece of shit his son probably was.
Right. Well, and here he literally uses it for basically embezzlement, and this is a New York Post. And as Carlos was saying, this is, you know, legal fucking fraud. It's from the Post, New York Post. Tax filings.
They're trying. Wait, this is a. On New York Post. Wait, they're just a plant site to destroy Biden's campaign.
Yeah. We would never fucking cover New York Post unless it actually, which is surprising, but it's because this shit's legal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look how successful they were. It's tanking his campaign if you really think that was their objective.
Yeah. So here it is. Tax filings reveal Biden cancer charity spent millions on salaries, zero on research. A cancer charity started by Joe Biden gave out no money to research and spent most of its contributions on staff salaries, federal filings show. The Biden Cancer Initiative was founded in 2017, this is 2 years after his son's death, by the former vice president and his wife, Jill Biden, to, quote, develop and drive implementation of solutions to accelerate progress in cancer prevention, detection, diagnosis, blah, 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 all bullshit, according to its IRS mission statement. But it gave out no grants in its first 2 years and spent millions on the salaries of former Washington, D.C. aides it hired. The charity took in $4,809,619 in contributions in fiscal years 2017 and 2018 and spent $3 million, almost all of it, $70,000, 301 on payroll in those 2 years. The group's president, Gregory Simon, raked in $429,000 in fiscal 2018, according to the charity's most recent federal tax filings.
Wait, so he was working full time for this gig? What was this guy doing?
Well, you'll see right here. Simon, a former Pfizer executive, Pfizer, big-time pharmaceutical company, and longtime healthcare lobbyist who headed up the White House's cancer task force in the Obama administration, saw his salary nearly double from the $224,000 he made in fiscal 2017. So much like Muñoz, he's also fucking ex-Obama too. And this guy's just some fucking grifter that Obama puts in to rake in money. And look, it says right there, in the 2 fiscal years, they spent basically all the money they took in on just giving people money. Not towards research, not towards development, or as, you know, if you guys remember earlier on in Biden's campaign trail, he claimed we're going to cure cancer. And
oh my God.
Yeah, he literally said that.
He just
you can
says so
look it
much
up.
stuff like you can't even remember.
Maybe like 5 or 6 months ago.
No,
okay,
I swear
longer?
he said this a
Maybe
he
less?
said this a lot.
Yeah, he said it more than once, but that we're gonna find the cure for cancer, which is obviously bullshit if you know anything about cancer.
Yeah, and
It's like-
even like as far as Cuba's gotten with like one type of fucking cancer, and they still haven't like fully figured it out. Like, and yeah, it's
And
just
Joe Biden's just doing it to do this, to make money for just goons.
It's like half the time Joe Biden says like this is America, there's nothing we can't do, and then it's like you give him all these like policies that we want to do, and it's like no, we can't do that because my donors don't get a cut.
He hasn't figured out a way to make money on it yet.
he's like, we can't do this. My son Beau Biden, Jack, he died.
Corn pop.
We can't do
Corn
Medicare
Pop
for all
was
because
bad
then how are everyone involved in the private health insurance industry gonna make money? What are they gonna do? What about them? Think about them. Think about their lives.
I want you to look healthcare executives in their eyes and tell them that you're gonna take away their job. You know, these are people of color. What are you gonna? So you want to end the wars? What are you gonna do? Look at these defense contractors in their eyes, and tell them that you're gonna take their jobs away.
Well, that's perfect right there, Ian, because if we can pull up our next piece here, and this is the final piece we'll go and do we're just going to have one break today. We still got more stuff, so stick around. Yeah, this is, to wax poetic here, he kind of goes on this here. This is by A.J. Nelson from We Are Change. He writes some good stuff. I think he does some stuff in Jacobin as well. Biden will have the most diverse, this is satirical, of course, so Biden will have the most diverse, intersectional cabinet of mass murderers ever assembled.
Yes, sweaty.
Slay.
Slay queen. We will have
Literally,
POC
slay.
women class
Slay.
Yeah.
Middle Eastern countries. Yes.
From the article here, well, you'll be happy to know that the next U.S. president and his crack team of ventriloquists are assembling a cabinet of mass murderers that's as diverse, inclusive, and intersectional as America herself. It's been obvious for a long time that Joe Biden's cabinet will be packed with Obama holdovers, war pigs, and whatever primary opponent he owes favors to. But now that he is the media-anointed winner of the presidential election, we're getting a bit more confirmation on who they're expected to be. A new political report informs us that the heavy favorite to lead the U.S. war machine into further imperial conquests, as Secretary of Defense is a butcher of the fairer sex named Michelle Flournoy, who was Obama's Undersecretary of Defense for Policy from 2009 to 2012, which, to my earlier point, she was one of those transition people, so she did a lot of bad shit. She set, the whole 2009 to 2012 precedent. In an article titled Biden a War Cabinet, Anti-Wars, Miriam Everett, we've covered some anti-war stuff, check them out, writes the following. Flournoy, in writing the Quadrennial Defense Review, during her time as Assistant Secretary of Defense for Strategy under President Clinton, has paved the way for the U.S.'s endless and costly wars, which prevent us from investing in life-saving and necessary programs like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. It has effectively granted the U.S. permission to no longer be bound by the UN's charter's prohibition against the threat or use of military force. It declared that, quote, when the interests at stake are vital, we should do whatever it takes to defend them, including, when necessary, the unilateral use of military power. Simply translated, the U.S. can just do whatever the fuck it wants.
No, that means blood for oil.
Yeah, because it can do whatever the fuck it wants.
Listen, our cabinet of women and men have decided we need to invade Venezuela. We need cheaper oil. How are we going to transfer all these prisoners?
We need to free the transgender community in Venezuela by taking their oil.
We need more Black and Latinx-owned prisons.
We'll go on here. While working at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, top defense and national security think tank based in Washington, D.C., in June 2002, as the Bush administration was threatening aggression towards Iraq, she declared that the United States would, quote, need to strike preemptively before a crisis erupts to destroy an adversary's weapons stockpile before it could erect defenses to protect those weapons or simply disperse them. So she's both a fucking Obama, Clinton, Bush goon. So these people endlessly cycle. So it lets you know Biden will be nothing different. Yeah, exactly. We can skip a little bit of past, so we don't have to talk about Michelle Flournoy as much anymore. Right under the portion where it shows the tweet, though, we could read that part. A favorite to lead America's other War Department, also known as the State Department, is former National Security Advisor and Ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice. Rice is an ideal choice for a leading role in the Biden administration because she holds the valuable trifecta of being A, female, B, black, and C, an enthusiastic promoter of the Iraq invasion, which murdered 1 million human beings. Some quotes from Rice, courtesy of Everett. I think he, then Secretary of State Colin Powell, has proved that Iraq has these weapons and is hiding them, and I don't think many informed people doubted that. That's from Susan Rice. Another one, quote, it's clear that Iraq poses a major threat. It's clear that its weapons of mass destruction need to be dealt with forcefully, and that's the path we're on. I think the question becomes whether we can keep the diplomatic balls in the air and not drop any as we move forward. Well, you fucking did. You dropped all of them.
What an empty statement that is.
Yeah,
like,
which is what we're gonna get.
We're gonna go use some force and
drop some balls, juggle some pins.
Yeah, we'll try not to screw anything up.
But we're just gonna bring the military in and then not fuck anything up.
And if you see the tweet there, that's Susan Rice there with the head of Mossad, the fucking Israeli CIA. So, Rice has a bunch of bad shit, but we can. Below the tweet is a good one though. Rice, who is also notorious for helping to deceive the world into the destruction of Libya, may have difficulty getting confirmed for Secretary of State in a Republican-held Senate. But one way or the other, she's guaranteed to be playing some role in the Biden administration. So what that signals is we could even have someone work. She might be the best fucking option.
Which is crazy.
Which is insane.
Because if anybody watching knows anything that's happening in Syria right now. like
And
open
Libya.
air, or Libya. I mean, yeah, my
Yeah.
bad. Open
No,
air
you're
slave markets, like
Yes.
literal, like purchasing human beings,
Going on for years and years now.
going on for years,
Since
all
we've
because
destroyed
of
the country.
Because
is
of her
all-
decisions.
all Obama's fault.
Yes. And goons like Susan Rice.
Yes.
There's a past article we didn't cover, but she takes big mega money from companies like Shell also as like a Shell lobbyist. So that's another thing to keep in mind is, you know, I think she was up for some other position. It's like she's not going to do anything about fracking, for example.
You think maybe she knows Amy Coney Barrett?
Yeah, well, it's a
Maybe some
small club and you're not in
ties.
it. So I'm sure she does. Here is another one, also under discussion for a role in leading the U.S. threshing monster, is Senator Tammy Duckworth, who has for months been, not to be mistaken with Kenneth or Kendrick Duckworth. No, Kendrick Lamar Duckworth.
I remember you was conflicted.
Great song, but horrible senator. She has been, for months, been aggressively attacking the Trump administration for not confronting Russia over the completely discredited claim that Moscow had paid Taliban-linked fighters to kill occupying coalition forces in Afghanistan, which is one of the lamest ways to attack Trump. You see her tweet there. Reminder, Donald Trump has not publicly called out a foreign dictator who reportedly has put bounties on American troops for 130 days.
Yeah.
Bounties on our troops that are in a country we illegally invaded 20 years ago.
Yep.
And just think about that Russian bounty story. Like, it really shows how the intelligence agencies can just throw around this stuff willy-nilly, and there's no consequence for it, so they continue.
Yeah, it just sticks.
Which is a huge part on our shitty fucking media.
Right.
They don't hold them accountable.
That are literally just talking heads for our intelligence agencies instead of actual journalists and media who put question to power. They're just like, hey, what do you want us to say? And then they say it.
Right.
And now we're in this fucked up state that we're in.
Right, and that's the real cause of the Putin puppet narrative that's
exactly.
been
People like fucking Maddow and like being
relatively sane people too.
And being generous, like pre-Russiagate, Maddow wasn't that bad. But this Russiagate shit, this Russiagate shit literally melted her brain.
Were you gonna say something, Carlos?
I was like, I thought our intelligence agencies were the best in the world. Like, don't we have plants in like every country? And if something was going on, wouldn't we be able to produce the evidence to prove it?
Exactly.
So it's like John Kiriakou said, who's at the CIA for over 15 years, that if they don't produce any evidence, then don't believe it.
It's all bullshit. Yep.
And yeah, like what you just said was so like we're the CIA. We have people everywhere, and we can't. Not one crumb of evidence as to what we accuse these people of doing.
And I think they may be the pinnacle of the reaping what we sow. We pretty much used them as our guard dogs all around the world, and now it's like, oh, you think you have the leash? You control the leash?
Right. And fuck it, you can put me on record. I think it's fucking morally justified for Putin to put bounties on fucking American soldiers' heads. In a country we've been invading for the last 20 years.
Whoa. Only in Call of Duty Cold War.
Yeah.
Careful. Just, you know what? Fuck it. I'm saying it, dude. America deserved 9/11. Just...
Well, no.
Yep.
We did it, so... we can... Oh, yeah.
A mini fridge, Michael?
One more before
you got a mini fridge in there, Mike?
Here.
The fuck was that?
I wish, bro.
I wish I had one, but it takes too much power.
Oh, it's your computer case. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
I was playing
Are we
with
really
it,
that boring?
It swung open because I was like pulling on it.
What are you trying to say, Michael?
Nothing. No, I was just
I
was just playing with it.
I preferred you when you were just a still image. No.
We're gonna put Michael on his shirt.
I'm gonna put Michael. Sticker on someone's car.
Just merge.
Just rip. One more, and then this little poem, so we can dip to our break. Up for consideration as leader of America's most sociopathic government agency, the CIA that is Obama's former CIA deputy director, Avril Haines, who protected all perpetrators implicated in a Senate report on CIA torture from suffering any consequences for their unspeakable brutality. So yeah, they're going to choose now you have Gina Haspel, the fucking torturer, and if she gets removed, you're just gonna have another fucking torture apologist in there. So nothing changes for the CIA. And I think this all gets beautifully summed up in this poem that I'll lead into the break. It's called Intersectional on the Side. Our weapons will be manufactured by corporations that have pansexual CEOs and Muslim shareholders. The bombers will be emblazoned with rainbow flags and flown by empowered women of all colors, who will scream, "Yes, Queen," as the mushroom clouds arise. The desert sand will turn to glass in the blast, and that glass will become a ceiling, and that ceiling will be shattered by a lesbian CIA director. People will be vaporized on the spot, or watch their own bodies fall apart like sandcastles, but they will never be misgendered. We will march as equals, white, black, Asian, indigenous, and whatever miscellaneous extras we can find, as long as they're photogenic enough for Instagram, arm in arm singing fight song in one voice, beneath a drone-filled sky to the edge of extinction, where we will leap together, screaming, "This is all Susan Sarandon's fault," into the face of the abyss.
Just fucking Jill Stein!
Fuck Jill Stein, Russian puppet! It won't be pretty, it won't be wise, but at least, for one glorious flash, we will get to feel like we really tried.
Period.
So yeah, I thought that was great.
That was fucking awesome.
The end
The
of
best
an
one
empire.
is the ceiling being shattered by the lesbian CIA director. Too good.
Yeah, that's just fucking awesome.
Any words before we hit our break?
No, I think on that note, we go into our break. Everybody go get your water, go stretch it out, do what you gotta do. We'll be back after this song.
Hell yeah.
By the local producer, Moth Moses. Go check him out. We'll be back.
Peace and love.
Spoop.
Hello.
What's up?
Spooky.
We're back, everybody. We'll give
The
people a
song,
second. Yeah.
Here we here.
This is always fucking with making good beats. We're always whipping it up. He has a new project he just put out not too long ago. It's called Nautilus. Out on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, all that. Moth
Hell yeah.
mode. Go fuck with him.
You would just jump right into it?
Yeah. Lettuce. I'll kick it off. We have this article here from Jacobin. Jacan sent it to me. Starting here at the top, it reads, Nancy Pelosi should not be the next Speaker of the House. Before I even start, 100% agree. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, lettuce. Nancy Pelosi is a barrier to transformative change. Socialists and progressives should oppose her re-election as House Speaker. However much of a relief Donald Trump's imminent departure from the White House may be, we shouldn't harbor any illusions about a Biden presidency. Not only do we have every reason to believe he meant it when he touted bipartisanship, courted wealthy Republican voters, and distanced himself from Bernie Sanders and Medicare for All. It also seems likely that the results of 2 Georgia runoff elections will keep the Senate under Republican control, significantly reducing the scope of political possibilities in the coming years, at least through institutional channels. Nonetheless, there are ample opportunities for leftists and progressives in Congress to wield their power to reorientate party priorities, starting with opposing Nancy Pelosi's re-election as House Speaker. Pelosi has already signaled her intent to run again for position when Congress reconvenes in January. But at a moment when Democrats pick legislative priorities, Pelosi is particularly ill-suited for that role. Pelosi's strengths, according to her most enthusiastic supporters, lie in the inside game, relationship building, fundraising, and vote counting, which makes her adept at
Otherwise known as losing.
Yeah. Which makes her adept at gathering majorities and holding a caucus. The values of those skills is largely predicated on legislative majorities, when the biggest obstacle to victory is finding a common denominator within the party itself. The task of an opposition leader is quite different. It demands a confrontational stance and a knack for finding levers of power outside of standard norms. That's a poor fit for Pelosi, whose own admiring biographer concedes that she is not a strong political communicator. And even if she was, the message she'd be relaying would fall flat, as her rejection of universal programs and acceptance of austerity politics shows she's unwilling to contest the bedrock assumptions undergirding right-wing politics. As an effective speaker, and Democratic Party writ large must reject reactionary frameworks, not squabble within them. With that part alone, I agree. Just always bending to the whim of what's going on within the party, and not trying to.
Yeah. Well, that's our whole thing we put forward, right? Is she just works for the Republicans. Is the reality.
Yeah. And people like Dianne Feinstein, same thing. Another big CA Dem, and she's literally just a Republican, but for some reason runs as a Democrat. But literally Republican.
Yep.
She knows how to put on the good old liberal facade.
Yeah.
Which you can even relate to people like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, true. These people are just in Nancy's case too, they're just obscenely rich even, and just so disconnected. They're literally just they're just Republican plants in the Democrats that are just used to the levers of power.
They're the Democrats who are so well off that even if Washington is stuck in gridlock throughout Biden's whole presidency, it doesn't matter to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Continuing on. Meanwhile, the left flank of the House can parlay their small numbers into exerting an outsized influence. The incoming Congress includes 4 members of Democratic Socialists of America, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush, and Jamal Bowman, as well as several other progressives that have championed demands like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal, including Pramila Jayapal, Ayanna Pressley, Ro Khanna, Mondara Jones, Marie Newman, Ilhan Omar, which they left out here.
Yeah, how do you live out Ilhan, who's the GOAT, honestly?
Yeah, I love Ilhan. While this coalition's power stems largely from its ability to marshal media attention from outside support, they'll soon outnumber the margin of majority held by House Democrats, who lost several seats in the election, seen as a shocking disappointment down ballot. In Pelosi's formulation, this means leverage. Any vote counter can tell you the left is a contingent you need for your majority. Also, like an interesting fact from this recent election, all the Democrats who ran like unequivocally supporting Medicare for all won, and especially in swing states.
Oh yeah.
But while all the Democrats who ran against Medicare for all, especially in swing states, lost. So
Right.
you know, you see like just how they pointed out, like you have the small majority or the small minority of like left politicians, and you know their vocal support through like social media and everything that they do, being that they're like just young leftists. Yeah, and of course, you know, you can't, you know, Bernie Sanders and all that, but like just like how far we've come with Medicare for all, and you can see those who are like, you can tell that they're real deal
Right.
about their politics, they're winning, and the people who are just careerists and only want to just stay in power to make money and continue this corrupted system are losing, which is
because it's showing.
cool. It's cool as you know, it's gives a little bit of hopium.
Hopium.
It gets me high sometimes.
You're right though. It's like no matter where you stand, like Nancy Pelosi is just ineffective at best.
Exactly.
It's like all these people would be more
Which
effective.
is exactly why she's there.
That's why she's there. Yeah.
As I keep mentioning, half the Democratic donors said they would be happy to pull out if she's not reelected as speaker.
Yeah, because she does what she's supposed to do.
Just nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And just finishing it up really quick. As Ryan Grimm, shout out Ryan Grimm, everybody should go check out Ryan Grimm, recently reported at The Intercept, the Congressional Progressive Caucus is reportedly devising a strategy to capitalize on this dynamic that would involve voting as a bloc and drawing up ideological standards to shed members whose politics are too far right to merit the progressive label, a cohort that should include Pelosi herself. Opposing Pelosi's re-election as Speaker would be an early opportunity to test the concept, apply pressure, and win concessions if they come up short. The same way a smaller and weaker group of progressive legislators did in 2018, brokering key committee assignments for their votes and turning congressional hearings into agitprop. Transformative change won't simply be with a better Speaker of the House, which is a good point. But leftists and progressives in the House can begin to erode institutional and political constraints that suppress the popular imagination about what is possible. And Nancy Pelosi is one of those constraints.
Yeah.
So, super hard to agree, and definitely this.
Yeah, I was gonna say sorry.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but yeah, like this like last little sentence is like, it's like I guess like super like food for the soul kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's super true. Like getting Pelosi out won't change a lot, but it's a step in the right direction, and
we got to go after her just in general.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Because the position, as they're saying, like, yeah, the position she's in is powerful, and you got to erode that kind of power so we can build our own power.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to guns a-blazing go after her. No holds barred.
Yeah, just reflect on what she's done and as her time as Speaker in the past few years.
Yes.
And just how horrible she's been and just how much Trump's gotten away with. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like a great example, just off the top of my head, the whole Nancy Pelosi ripping up his speech thing. She was like, "Oh, yeah," but like literally, like days after she did that, she voted to increase our military spending. So it's like she like positions herself as this anti-Trump or whatever, but there she goes, increasing his military budget and sucking him off. Like the fuck.
Right. Carlson and I were reminiscing on that because the page tariff thing that blew up from Nancy Pelosi is a sign of defiance against Trump,
and it's what everyone remembers because it was staged to be that way.
Right.
Even
that
though
was
it means
the
nothing.
State of the Union, Trump's State of the Union, and Carlson and I'm sure Ian remembered it too. But when Nancy Pelosi was there, Juan Guaido, the fake president of Venezuela, was brought to the State of the Union, and they acknowledged him as the president of Venezuela.
And they all
stood up, including Nancy Pelosi, Donald Trump, all of them. And then moments later, that was the moment we remember.
Exactly. Which is so it's just class solidarity. It's imperialist solidarity. They'll sit there and position themselves as they hate each other, but literally a great example.
But
they're intertwined. They're locked at the hip, and they'll go and continue to cheer on these fake leaders of countries, of places we try to coup.
Hell yeah.
That was a great point to bring up. Hell yeah. Let's talk about money.
Yeah. Well, there's only one guy qualified here to talk about money.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm too good.
Yes.
Yes.
Simple parentheses.
Nosferatu.
As we whites are with money.
Colonizer!
Don't stand on me, Whitey. Oh, no.
The easiest way to conquer someone is to get them to play a game they don't understand. And so that's what Deutsche Bank is doing right here. So, Deutsche Bank, you may have got some fond memories of them helping to crash the world economy in 2008. You know, real nice guys. And they got a nice little solution for one of the ways we could help some of the low-end workers in our society by taxing people who work at home. So, Deutsche Bank's solution to helping the poorest is to tax the middle class.
Yeah,
Boy, doesn't this sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds just like what they've always proposed.
Yeah.
Somehow it's never any more burden needs to be placed on them or their activities and the little effort they do to attain the wealth they get.
No, they worked really hard for all that wealth. That's the difference.
They worked really hard knowing someone who showed them how to play the stock market. I mean, the Ponzi scheme market. I mean,
yeah, it's an aristocracy where if you don't work as hard, you get taxed more too. Apparently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or even if you do work, if you work hard by actual standards, you do get taxed anyway.
Yeah,
Because
that's what, yeah.
A single mom in the South working 3 jobs isn't working hard, so we got to tax her because she's not working hard.
Think
But
about
the CEO,
Bezos.
Bezos is the hardest worker.
I'm getting worried because I'm hearing people starting to like flip it now. It's like, no. You see, you just got to work smart. That's the thing.
Yeah, you don't got to work hard now. Work.
It's like, wait, hold on. Working smart is supposed to be like the betterment. That's like once you're already on the right. It's like, like no.
No,
you can't just use it as a replacement.
Learn the code. What about these cold jobs?
Yeah, because the end of working smart is playing the stock market, because that's the smartest thing you can do.
It's just make money off of.
Smart to them is just imaginary, fairy dust. Do you have any more from this? Yeah, this piece.
There wasn't really that much to it. I mean, it's all just kind of, they go over the numbers of, like, they say it's a 5% tax, it generates so many billions of dollars, like, wow, whoop-de-doo.
It is pretty fun.
But it's
it's just
during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Not only that, even if we were in a pandemic, like,
it's shitty anyway.
To
so they're
tax the middle class when these rich people are making insane amount of money.
And
like, what the fuck are you like?
Their cutoff of basically poor is like 30,000 and under. So pretty much everyone making over 30,000 is like.
So the overwhelming majority of Americans wouldn't get this tax because the overwhelming majority of Americans don't make over $30,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rich people literally have all of our money. We work to create their money, and they don't give us anything.
But that's an interesting number too. Is that it's like, because it's like the cutoff point basically. Because like once you start getting there is like where you find what's left of the middle class, And then
Yep.
once you start going over like 75, you can go over like that towards 100K is like when you're getting to the real like upper middle class, upper class. But there's like a lot of people who are like slipping into poverty still.
Right.
And you got to think this
yeah.
tax might push more people, or not would this tax would push more people into poverty. People who are on that like very edge.
No stimmy.
Well,
Exactly.
basically,
At home.
the irony of this is, well, they say they want the tax to do is make up for the benefits of working from home, and that's the sick. That's what's sick about this.
Just
The benefits.
you have a privilege to work from home, so we should tax you.
It's like
Okay.
it's like a lot of these jobs, like people should have just been working from home to begin with. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
For a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, dude. Like most of these office jobs,
They should be paid stimulus, staying at home, fucking months
And
ago.
But a lot of these
year
people
ago.
aren't the one. These are people making more like a little more than modest salaries, but they're not making bank.
Right. Yeah, they still have mortgages. They still have rents.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
real payments to
Yeah.
make. But like once
Yeah.
you start
I-
getting really like over 100K, that's when you're like well off. That's when like the bills are like can only be so high,
Right.
unless you like start getting too lavish. But I mean, like there's you have a lot more freedom technically.
if you make 100K a year and you're just a modest person, you're gonna be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
like
I was
there's the
gonna-
extreme wealth too. Yeah.
What were you saying,
I was
Michael?
gonna bring up that I think a lot of companies now are realizing that a lot of their employees don't have to work in an office setting. They can literally just do the same exact work and do it from home.
Yeah.
And with the large influx of people working at home nowadays, I mean, I think that is becoming a realization for a lot of the companies now.
It's a
And
scary
I
thing,
think,
too.
and I think, yeah, because I feel like it can soon lead to the normalization for working at home, just becoming like the norm, you know.
Well,
But
'cause
that's not necessarily the
Normalization,
issue, but
rather,
the
like,
just
for
the surveillance and then
yes.
surveillance and losing your privacy, because like you already
Yeah.
see it now during the pandemic. You have these companies that are like, we need to monitor your bathroom breaks,
How many
this-
keystrokes you do.
exactly how many
Yeah,
keystrokes
and they
you're doing.
don't
and
necessarily do that now, but they would probably definitely start doing
Some
that.
companies
or at
are
Oh
least
doing
yeah,
put-
they're
or at
willing
least
to
put
do
it
that.
more-
Are doing that.
Straight
more
up.
into like an yeah.
No,
they would
Michael,
put
some
more-
are literally doing that.
No, yeah, but I
Like,
mean,
if you
it'll
move out
become
of view
more
of
and
your
more
camera,
common
Yeah.
Oh,
within
you're saying over time it will become the
over
the
time.
norm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because as they gain control too and begin to implement this kind of stuff, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Through our weak labor
Right.
laws and our
And it's
and our
scary.
ununionized labor force, they're just going to continue to infringe on our
Yeah,
rights.
it's the entire working class population that's just been subjected to this warfare.
Exactly. And which is
Carlos
what.
is- Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna
Whether
kind
you're
of
making
go
a
back
lot
to-
of money or little money.
I was gonna go back to like what we were talking about like a couple of shows ago with like Prop 21. Like it's just they can like the continued shit on of our labor force is just like people the capitalists will never stop trying to fuck us over, and it's just so evident. And that's what I wanted to say.
Because
but-
the entire time they have been, that's what they've been doing this entire time.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years. Hundreds of years.
yeah, and specifically with Prop 21, like
They can't
Prop
stop.
20,
They won't
Prop
stop.
20, Prop 21 was about getting labor rights that we got fucking 100 fucking like over 100 years ago, and these companies are like still fighting for these labor rights, and or not these companies, but these people are still fighting for these labor rights, and these companies are just tearing them down, and then with spending the most lobbying money ever spent on a California prop ever in history.
Yeah, for 22. Yeah.
22, not 21.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
but it's insane.
Yeah, it is insane.
Like you literally like the most simple way to explain it is like these are labor rights that normal employees have had access to for over 100 years, and Uber and Lyft drivers do not have them because of loopholes in our legislation. That fucking sucks.
Yeah. It's a war, and they're waging it. No
Oh,
doubt.
yeah. But the problem is, they have all the power.
they have all the power and they recognize what's going on. And I think we have none of the power and we don't realize, a lot of us don't realize this is full-on warfare.
Yep. Which I think is from what we talked about like way earlier, like a cool part to take away from like Castro. Like
oh, that he's just he was
like
literal.
we are literally at war, and we have to be literally militant in how we go about.
Yeah, colonial people realize that way more than we do.
Yeah.
Or like people that are victims of imperialism, or like we're gonna cover later, but you see in South America, like, oh, it's clear as day. There's a fucking war going on, but we're just blinded here. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Here it's more of a quiet war done with euphemisms and wages.
It's much more nuanced. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, covert corruption.
And it's ready to burst at any minute is the scary part. Burst, but not, Get worse, but nothing changed.
Think about the George Floyd protests.
Yeah, biggest mass protests ever in United States history.
And that could just be the beginning. Like, it could get much worse than that.
Well, if there's another shutdown with no stimulus, dude, that's like
because all it takes is a spark that everyone can get upset over, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. On that note, do we want to move?
Yeah, that's
This one's actually sickening.
Next one. This is a really short one too.
Yeah. We can kind of riff on it though.
Yeah, so it's a Twitter thread from Eric Ding, and he captioned a chilling video of El Paso jail inmates hired to move bodies of COVID-19 deceased patients into mobile overflow morgues. Inmates wear full PPEs and paid $2 an hour. They've been doing this tough work since Monday before El Paso increased to 10 mobile morgues. And then he linked a video down as well showing them doing the work. Can you play the video?
And this isn't just simply for like COVID shock value. The whole point is they have these fucking prisoners out there working for $2 an hour.
Yeah, $2.
Shoveling, fucking disease-ridden bodies into cars.
If you think slavery ended, read the 13th Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy time.
For those who don't know, a lot of the hospitals are, well, of course they're very overwhelmed, and with the large, that large wave that just hit with the coronavirus, the hospitals are overwhelmed, and so are the morgues. So recently, there's been more mobile morgues being put out, and that's where they store a lot of the deceased patients that unfortunately died from COVID-19.
And we just talked about in the last show, at the point of the last show, the most cases in a day were 145,000. I was seeing on the fucking news today at work, or was it yesterday? 175,000 most cases in a day. The surge is crazy.
Texas alone has passed 1 million. They were the first to pass.
Yeah.
And now they're just using slave labor to clean up the bodies.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier too. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what would hazard pay be?
Way more than $2 an hour.
Right.
So are you saying what should it be?
No. I said, what is it? What is hazard pay now? What is it?
A lot of places don't get it.
Most places don't. Yeah.
Well, yeah, most places don't. At Whole Foods, we got, for a short period of time, a couple months, we got a $2 premium, which is the hazard pay. But the fucked up part about that hazard pay that we were getting it wasn't tied to our wage. It was a premium, so it was getting taxed.
Nice.
Separate from our wage, so we're only seeing a fraction of that money. Which was fuck Jeff Bezos, fuck John Mackey, but it's crazy, and overwhelming majority of places are not getting any hazard pay. Hazard pay should be, at very least, double.
Right.
You should be getting paid
Right.
double what you normally get paid as hazard
Especially
pay.
these big corps.
Exactly.
And you have
Yeah.
these overt things where this is like an overt hazard, and they're making prisoners work it. We're like, only like trained professionals should be doing this shit, and they should be getting paid bank.
And yeah,
Oh,
but
well,
we
I
have
was
these
just trying to
prisoners doing
see-
it for $2.
Yeah.
I was trying to see like whether or not these inmates were being paid less than hazard pay, or like Eian just said, a lot of people don't get hazard pay or less.
Well, these prisoners aren't even
which
They're not
getting
even
to.
getting a minimum wage.
They're not even
Yeah,
getting
they're not
anything
getting
close
anything.
to the minimum wage. They're
Yeah,
not.
Absolutely
federal
not.
minimum wage is $5 more.
And what
Because
were
they're
the
not even
fucking,
getting really paid the hazard pay difference.
what were the
Yeah.
fucking what were the firefighters getting fucking paid, dude, during the fucking
$1, there was $1 a day cases, but
Yeah,
usually
what
it's
the
$1
fuck?
an hour.
What the fuck is that, dude?
Yeah, and I'm reading here on like it's a different link within the thread, but it's not on the Twitter
Called
page.
business.
It says the inmates are getting paid $2 an hour. They began helping last Monday. Initially, inmates were only supposed to help Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. But they have been there.
They were so effective.
Well, they've been there all weekend as well. So they're working technically overtime past what they're actually supposed to be working, which is Monday through Friday. But now they're working on the weekend as well.
So they're working literally every day. Everybody's working on the weekend.
Every day, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Jeez.
And $2 an hour.
$2 an hour.
Doing something that a professional should be.
So yeah,
Well,
like
that's the through line, right? Though, as Eian said with the fires, is Kamala, not just Kamala, but the neo-libs have set this up as a precedent. They get bankrolled by these private prisons, and then they go out and they use prisoner slave labor to fight ecological disasters that they're also being lobbied.
They use prisoners for
Mhm.
quote unquote expendable labor, basically.
and,
Yeah.
and the super fucked up part about it is when these people get out of jail, they can't go into the fields that they were just like doing while they were in prison.
They're not gonna be firefighters or
Yeah, which is like you have places like fucking Germany where you can, while you're in prison, go to school to become these things.
right.
Like our prison system is so draconian and so like focused on punishing people rather than rehabilitating them into society. That these people would like this, like they were doing a professional's job, transporting disease-ridden bodies during a pandemic for $2 an hour, and when they get out of prison, they're gonna have zero economic opportunities whatsoever. They're gonna go.
They're not gonna contact these people again and like offer them a position.
You get those
hardly ever
stupid
happens.
posts online. It's like, oh, jobs that hire felons. It's like all of your felony shouldn't stop you from getting a fucking job anywhere ever.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And we also have to look at what those felonies are, how they got to these felonies. Like,
Yeah, and just change it all, like the
Yeah.
restorative and rehabilitation.
I mean, like
process.
obviously, like as long as like the terms of your release like don't inhibit whatever job you're doing. I mean that should be all it really is.
Yeah.
but the thing is, like, yeah, like what? I don't know. Like, going on with like prison stuff is hard. Like,
It's crazy that literally they'll work probably 7 days a week, next to COVID bodies that could probably kill you. They'll go back to jail and then spend like 90% of their wages they made on like commissary ramen.
Yep.
And then
Maybe a book if they're lucky.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're just
Are
gonna
you-
get leached on by the prison system.
Our whole prison system's fucked, and it's just the American understanding of prison is super fucked.
No.
I just wanted to just bring this up one more time. Another part in this article, it says that the inmates who are helping are also inmates who have misdemeanors. So those are the ones
Beautiful,
who are
sweet,
were-
awesome. So
yeah,
just not criminals.
Wow.
Awesome.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Just
this is
normal ass people.
normal ass
right,
people.
who can't
that
get
didn't
out.
do anything. Yeah, that more or less they're probably in jail because they can't afford to leave.
They
Right.
they had weed crumbs on them, and now they're fucking
Post $100 bail, $200 bail.
Mhm.
it's fucked up.
Nuts.
So, moving on.
Yes, this next piece we have here. We were talking earlier how Latin America has the clarity to realize they're in a class war again, and yeah, there's a battle against capitalism. There's already been developments here, so I'll touch on them as we go. This is from popularresistance.org. Good stuff. Massive protests in Peru against legislative coup. The above photo, you can see there. Demonstrators hold signs saying, Merino is not my president. During a protest against newly appointed interim president Manuel Merino on November 12, 2020 in Lima, Peru, Merino, who was head of National Congress, replaced President Martin Vizcarra after he was ousted by lawmakers over allegations of corruption. And yeah, well, note on two things is Merino has now stepped down from power because people have been out in the streets protesting hard as fuck in Peru. And they've noticed, within Latin America, all these other countries standing up. So he had to step down basically. And he claimed it was because they were getting violent. There's been no real sign of fucking violence at all. And he's stepping down because he realizes his fucking days are numbered. So, and the other note here is this whole allegation of corruption is a complete coup measure, very similar to if you're familiar, the like Lula da Silva shit, the like Lava Jato, where they just claimed, he was doing corruption basically, and they just locked him up in legal court to where he can't do anything, and then they put Lula da Silva under house arrest and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they know they can do it because they have the money of international corporations in the U.S. and guys like Lula and fucking Vizcarra are just usually indigenous fucking tradesmen. They don't have a lot of money behind them or anything. So back to the article though. Thousands of Peruvians have taken to the streets this week to protest the interim government of newly appointed President Manuel Merino, a member of Peru's center-right Popular Action Party, who as head of Congress played a key role in ousting his predecessor, Martin Vizcarra, in what critics are calling a legislative coup. As the Washington Post reported earlier this week, the removal of Vizcarra on Monday was, quote, based on still unproven bribery allegations, quote, which critics called a, quote, congressional coup staged by Machiavellian legislators desperate to halt his anti-corruption and political reform campaigns, unquote. While Vizcarra is no leftist like Bolivia's Evo Morales, his popular anti-corruption efforts jeopardized legislators' pocketbooks and threatened to end many of their political careers. And I think to the point I kind of made a second ago, is it's more of a trend where they're trying to, link up with other countries like Bolivia and shit, where shit really could change in Peru, farther than Vizcarra. The Guardian reported earlier this week that a previous attempt to oust Vizcarra in September failed to get enough votes, but this week's impeachment trial unfolded as Peru is reeling from one of the world's worst coronavirus outbreaks, and left its economy in recession and caused mass unemployment. Very similar to Bolivia. And yeah, obviously not all that's relevant because now...
Which I believe we covered in like a very early episode of the show.
The COVID in Bolivia?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Peru. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think we did do a Peru one, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Huh. And this one, they give a shout out to... I haven't watched the interview here, but it's a Michael Brooks show. Talks about this also.
Oh, hey. Nice.
Just to speak on kind of the, government or the military there and what they're doing to the protesters. According to The Guardian, at least 11 people, including journalists, have been wounded as of Friday, some from rubber bullets. The clashes and other more peaceful protests in the capital Lima and other cities, the news outlet reported, are piling pressure on a fragmented Congress as well as Merino, who was inaugurated on Tuesday under circumstances that the vast majority of the country considers illegitimate, which was because he just, was basically the guy that made possible the ousting of the last guy, and then steps in. It's very similar to Janine Inez, just being the arbiter of getting them out and then just stepping in yourself. which is very sus. But yeah, solidarity with Peru. There's going to be more that develops there, I imagine. I don't think that's over, as is anything in Peru, or in Latin America, rather. So we'll keep our tabs there.
Most definitely.
If we can move to our last one here. And we haven't done a whole lot to cover England, and we even kind of, even though we alluded to it, we kind of skipped over Corbyn getting ousted from the Labour Party, being suspended on allegations of anti-Semitism, which means you don't support the apartheid state of Israel.
Yeah, which is obviously the claims are false and propped up by these pro-Israel groups that want to continue to wipe out the Muslim population in Palestine.
Yeah, absolutely. And it even deepens further because the right is emboldening itself even more in England and kind of destroying what's left of the Labour Party. So it's sad to see. Because you think earlier at least in my mind, earlier in this year, I was like, man, I wish we had something like the Labour Party. Or, at least they have some foot in the door. And it's like, oh, man. They're just getting bodied.
We say that from an American perspective, but, they're getting they have their foot in the door, but that foot's getting fucking stomped on.
Very similar struggle.
They got their own corporatists.
Spit on. They have fucking dogs biting that foot in the door. Like,
corporatists are everywhere.
Their prime minister.
Boris Johnson, bruv, shake my fucking hand. Shake my fucking hand. I don't believe in coronavirus. Shake my fucking hand, bruv.
I heard he might have got it again, by the way. That was on Twitter.
Oh, so, Boris, bruv, you got a little fucking sick, huh?
He's got nothing on Bolsonaro, who has it for the 9th time or whatever.
Man. Get it.
A showing among right-wing elites who's got the latest coronavirus.
Who could get it the most times?
Before fucking cacking out, dude.
No, who's got the latest strain of coronavirus?
Yeah, Bolsonaro is definitely the fucking king of COVID.
He's got it legit at least 3 or 4 times. I say 9 because it might as well be.
I didn't even know you can get it that many times.
He's gotten sick, deathly sick, to where they're and he tested positive. They claimed he's tested negative multiple times, and then said, "Oh, he's tested positive."
Yeah, he's definitely tested for sure positive. At least 3.
Yeah, who knows if he's had it the whole time? Probably. And the reality is, he's just going in and out of being sick.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably the reality.
It's the whole point of the information warfare. We know almost little to nothing about this virus.
Yeah.
And we're grasping at the bits we can find.
Let's jump into the article. This is from Tribune, one of our good sources.
I love Tribune.
Labor's Bristol West suspensions are an attack on party democracy by Tom Blackburn. The suspension of the chair and co-secretary of Bristol West, CLP, over a motion supporting Jeremy Corbyn is a calculated attack on Labour members' rights and party democracy. 7 months into his leadership of the Labour Party, the meaning of Keir Starmer's new management is becoming even clearer. In the latest attack on party democracy, several members of Bristol's West CLP, including its chair and co-secretary, have been suspended from the party for considering a motion opposing Jeremy Corbyn's suspension. General Secretary David Evans, a veteran New Labour apparatchik, last week warned constituency parties in an obviously anti-democratic maneuver not to discuss Corbyn's suspension. Yet since Corbyn was suspended, Starmer himself has loudly and regularly endorsed the decision, while insisting it wasn't his call. He has been joined by numerous leading figures in the shadow cabinet, as well as many of the most prominent columnists in the liberal press. Local parties, however, are denied the same right and have effectively been gagged. Already, this new clampdown on members' rights has provoked further backlash. Last night, the neighboring CLP of Bristol Northwest similarly defied Evans' orders to pass a motion criticizing Corbyn's suspension as divisive, demoralizing, and wrong, continuing that it would, quote, weaken our party when we need to be strong to resist the harm that Tory policies, are doing to millions of people, unquote. The motion passed by a margin of more than 2-1, joining 12 other CLPs who had passed the CLPD motion in support of Corbyn in the past week. So it's crazy they're getting fought on just a declarative statement that they're like, hey, it's a bad idea to suspend Corbyn. We shouldn't have done that. That's going to weaken our party, and we're going to get bodied by the Tories, and the right's going to take over even more than they already have. They're just trying to get that declared, and they're trying to fucking prevent that. Rather than, like, you know, the reality should be is fucking unsuspend Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, like even though supposedly like the Labor Party was like they did like a little worse in the last election, I think. Like
Yeah.
Jeremy Corbyn is still like pretty much the big head of the party. Like I can't think of anyone else, even though I'm not really too in tune. Like,
and there's no reason to among like the youth of England and internationally, like people like us, it's people that recognize Corbyn as like
exactly
de facto socialist leader. Not that any one person is the point, but it shows
clearly
that
there are probably a lot of people better than Corbyn. But I mean, it's just he's like the kind of Sanders compromise candidate, where it's like good, but it's like better compromise.
I was just gonna bring Sanders into it. Like you obviously can't make a perfect comparison, but like the two and like what they represent is like very similar. Like you know, people who are interested in the working class and making sure we have a strong labor force, like.
And they're just for all the marquee things, like
just a strong social safety net. Yeah, he wants real robust like social safety nets. He wants to make sure that our bottom line is protected, and he wants to make sure that the rich pay what they need to pay.
Nothing that radical, honestly.
Exactly.
In either of their cases.
Unless you're a rich asshole controlling the system.
Which I am, so that's why I am officially endorsing Joe Biden.
There are quite a number of.
With my USSR flag, I am a proud proponent of Joseph Robinette Biden.
Proud communist, Marxist, socialist. Anarchist.
I'm an anarcho-Bidenist, actually.
Can we skip down to the fourth paragraph from last that starts with Keir Starmer?
Right there, yeah.
And we'll start from there. Keir Starmer has set out from day one to inflict as much demoralization as possible on left-wing party members, many of whom had supported his candidacy in the first place. From sacking Rebecca Long-Bailey to installing a brazenly factional general secretary, forcing through changes to the CLP voting system, abstaining on appalling trespasses against labor values such as the Spy Cops bill, suspending Jeremy Corbyn, and now banning discussion of that suspension. No, it has been a calculated attempt to hollow out the party and make it easier to shift labor's politics to the right in the long term. As far as party democracy is concerned, the gains of the Corbyn years were slight, and the aspiration to create a truly member-led Labour Party remained just that. Nevertheless, even in these modest advances are in the process of being systemically rolled back. It is likely that the NEC elections, which, thanks to proportional representation in CLP voting, and the fact that the rest of the NEC is weighted against the left, delivered Starmer a larger majority, will mean the gradual dismantling of the Democracy Review and other pro-member measures, however limited they were. For those who sincerely hoped that Starmer's leadership would bring an end to the factional warfare of recent years, and that New Labour's command and control regime has been categorically consigned to history, all this must come as a bitter disappointment. But for many who've chosen to stay and fight, it's time to make good on the latter part. This is no time for vacillation. The left must resolutely defend party democracy and members' right to air legitimate criticisms. The war against the labor left will not end soon, and as the great miners-led Mick McGahey once said, they'll only stop chasing us when we stop running.
Hard.
And yeah, that is hard. What a fucking British article, though. Just
Yeah,
the
word
vocabulary.
word
They're
vacillation.
only chasing us.
When he said vacillation for a second, I thought you were gonna say Vaseline, and I was like, no Vaseline.
There's just so many more levers of like control within their political process too. It's just funny to read.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but still, even then, as you pointed out, like, even though the gradual things we have now that they have, the proportional representation, they're going to take over, and Corbyn's been suspended. Like, they're just going to hollow out the Labor Party,
Mm-hmm.
and either the Tories are going to win, or if it's the Labours, they're just going to suck anyway. So.
I mean, it's like there's a reason they're compared to the Democrats. It's because they have their own corporatist wing who is pretty much more subservient to the Conservative Party than to like the actual people who make up, the real people, the voting bloc of their party.
Right.
It's more about.
And I think just like us, they have the delusion that guys like Corbyn or Bernie that come through this whole party machine can somehow prevail over it. And no.
It's going to take a lot more than just one guy.
Yeah, it just won't work. We got to be like what Peru's doing, Bolivia's doing. The
change has to come from outside and from the people. Yeah,
Yeah.
as much as I fucking love Bernie, as much of a Bernie bro as I am, I understand that he's not going to be the catalyst for huge change. Exactly, it's not the future either. We need to go beyond.
The project, it failed. We're moving on.
Yeah, we need to go beyond Bernie.
We learned our lessons. Yeah, exactly. That's all we have, I think, for articles tonight.
Yeah, we had a pretty short one.
Yeah, our first Sunday show.
Hopefully definitely not the last.
11 articles.
Yeah.
Just 3 videos.
The good thing is with this and Wednesday, it can kind of shorten up our shows, but not too much, but make them a little more poignant, maybe.
Yeah, we'll get.
This is just we can cover more news since if we have 2 shows a week.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, 10:30 p.m. Wednesday and Sunday, as of now.
Yeah, things might be subject to change.
Yeah, so just ear to the street.
Keep up to date with our Twitter and Instagram at Spoop
But 2 shows
Podcast.
nevertheless.
Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're aiming for affiliate, but we gotta pump out more episodes, more content.
Yeah.
So that's good for you guys.
Yes.
So we just want to know how you want it.
How do you want it?
Spoop Podcast B-roll.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions before we get out of here, type away now. And we'll get out of your hair.
Yeah, if not, we zoom in.
Yeah, we get it's Sunday going into Monday. People got stuff to do.
You.
So thank you if you're still here for joining us.
Yeah, shout out to our Sunday crew.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we build a little following on Sunday. That'll be cool.
Yeah, man.
Catch us Wednesday because we're gonna be there.
We'll be right back here Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. every
Spicy
night.
interview with our biggest fan, probably.
Yes, bro. No fans here. There's no fans, just comrades. We leaked the last show, but we have our boy Abram coming on to talk about some interesting stuff going on in Mexico, and I'll leave it at that. We don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but yeah, we seriously appreciate everything, all the support. There's 9 people fucking watching us right now here at midnight 25. So
hell yeah,
thank you guys. Yeah, we really appreciate that. If you're new here and you kind of like what we talk about and are interested in what we've talked about, go look us up on YouTube, Spoop Podcast, and drop a follow here. It really helps.
We got
us.
all the links. You can find them on our Twitch page. You can go to the About section. It should all be there.
Fuck with us on all of our social media. Keep up with us. We make sure to keep everybody updated on what's going on with the show. So,
all our VODs have timestamps, links to everything we talk about, so it's the best.
Yes.
Reach out to us. We do interviews.
Yes, if you have something you want that you think, if you have something that you think you want to come on and talk on the show about, reach out to us and we can get to cooking. Yeah, local organizing.
you're a
Reach out to
local
us. Let's get to
artist,
yeah.
yeah.
If
Yeah,
you're a
I'll
local
send it to
artist, if you're a local artist and you want us to play your music, reach out to us. We'll play your music. We have no problem with supporting local artists. Yeah.
Also, it's kind of nothing we really talked about too much, but I'd like to work maybe with like actual, like more, what do you call it, like a drawing kind of artists, or
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
to
Yeah,
get
get
like
some-
some more artwork for the stream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
be
could
able to
open
support
with like
support
pictures.
local.
Yeah, or have like a gallery moment where we like just curate and let people's pieces be up. Maybe if
Yeah,
they want
hell
to
yeah. Yeah, if you're yeah, that'd be something interesting to do actually. If you
Well,
want
as
us
a
like,
visual artist, that's what I mean.
Yeah, visual artists. Yeah,
but say you're like a painter or like a photographer, and you know.
yeah. Reach out. Or if there's an idea we haven't thought of, we're interested in anything. So.
Yeah, we're always interested to cook. Just literally reach out to us. Twitter is Spoop Podcast. Just DM us on that, and we can cook.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, we've done enough talking. I think we're gonna get out of your hair now. I say it every show. We have to be the change. It all starts with us, and always organize in your locality, and like I say every time, workers of the world unite, man. And we'll get out of your hair. If anybody has anything else to say it. But yeah, let's get the cameras cut and the outro song playing. This one's also by Moth Moses. For real, go check him out. Fire producer. He's a couple songs with the Omega Nova. He's a regular artist we play on the show, and he also just put out a project out on all streaming platforms. Go fucking check it out. It's fire. Absolutely fire.
I can't believe we didn't mention it. Oxrev Study. I saw they did a protest few
Oh
days ago.
yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Want to make sure we gave a shout out to them. This is some
Yes.
badass stuff.
Everybody go fuck with Oxrev Study. Seriously.
Oh yeah. That's someone we want to work with as well. So if there's connections there, please talk to us. That'd be cool.
Yeah, hell yeah. We want to do what we can. So yeah. Yeah.
Much love.
Let's get out of here. Mic's muted. Cameras cut. Song playing. Let's go.